WLNS is here for you, celebrating 75 years of bringing you the news with 6 News at 5:30.
Right now at 5:30, another tornado has touched down in Michigan. We'll have the details. Plus, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 9 drunk driving arrests. And what's being called an HIV breakthrough gets the green light. Those stories and a lot more, and all in the first 6 minutes. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Siobhan Klepfer. Let's start that clock. We begin tonight in Macomb County, where people are cleaning up this evening after a tornado touched down yesterday evening. The National Weather Service says an EF0 hit southeast Macomb County, causing a significant amount of downed trees and branches, as well as downed power and communication lines, and some moderate flooding as well. This is Michigan's 29th confirmed tornado of the year. 1974 holds the record for the most twisters in a single year with 39. Well, there's frustration tonight among some people after learning this woman was caught drinking and driving for the 9th time. 56-year-old Karen Robert took a plea deal for the January 13th arrest in Ottawa County and was just sentenced to a minimum of 3 years and 10 months behind bars. Her first offense dates back to 2002, and officials say she has been back and forth to jail and prison since then. Well, take a look at this. A SpaceX rocket being tested in Texas exploded last night, creating this massive fireball. The company says the Starship experienced a major abnormality on the test stand while preparing for the 10th flight test. SpaceX says no nearby communities were impacted or damaged by this explosion, but it did ask people to stay away from the site. A sheriff's deputy in Washington lassoed a chainsaw-wielding man after he jumped into a pond to avoid arrest. Sheriff's officials there say the 32-year-old suspect was threatening his parents with a chainsaw, and as deputies tried to de-escalate the situation, the man jumped into a pond and refused to get out. After about 40 minutes, they finally grabbed a lasso, roped the man, pulled him to shore, and took him into custody. Hurricane Eric made landfall in Mexico earlier today as a Category 3 hurricane with maximum speeds around 130 miles per hour. It's the first hurricane to make landfall in Mexico this season, and scientists say it could be really intense along Mexico's Pacific coast. Hurricane season runs from May to November. An Iranian missile slammed into the main hospital in southern Israel today, causing extensive damage and injuring many people. Separate Iranian strikes hit an apartment building in Tel Aviv and several other sites in central Israel, injuring at least 40 people. Meanwhile, Israel carried out strikes on Iran's heavy water reactor. This is the 7th day of conflict, which began with a surprise wave of Israeli airstrikes targeting military sites, senior officers, and nuclear scientists. Honda is recalling nearly 260,000 cars in the U.S. because of an issue with the brake pedal. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the pedal could potentially move from side to side, preventing drivers from safely stopping their cars. Affected vehicles will generate a warning when the brake pedal is not working properly, and owners can expect a recall notice in the mail. The U.S. State Department says it is restarting the suspended process for foreigners applying for student visas. However, all applicants will now be required to unlock their social media accounts for government review. The department says officers will be on the lookout for posts and messages that could be deemed hostile to the United States. New applicants who refuse might be rejected. Students around the world have been anxiously waiting for the U.S. to reopen appointments for visa interviews. The FDA has approved the world's only twice-a-year shot to prevent HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. The vaccine is marketed under the name Yeztugo and can be used by both men and women. 2 clinical trials show the injection is nearly 100% effective at stopping new HIV infections. The medical breakthrough comes as the Trump administration eyes deep cuts to HIV prevention funding.
I spoke to a spokeswoman today from Gilead. She said it's going to be about $28,000 a year at list price. But they're making all sorts of efforts, she said, to make it more widely available to everyone. But the problem, of course, is in the United States, we have decreased support from federal programs, both inside the United States and abroad, for HIV prevention.
It is unclear how much insurance would cover for the shot. Statistics show there are still more than 30,000 new HIV infections in the U.S. each year. Today is Juneteenth, the holiday marking the ending of slavery in the United States. One of America's oldest Juneteenth celebrations is the Jubilee Parade in Milwaukee. Fort Worth, Texas honored Juneteenth with the Opal Lee Walk for Freedom. Dr. Lee began the annual tradition of marching 2.5 miles to symbolize the 2.5 years it took for enslaved people in Texas to learn about their newfound freedom.
She's a grandmother to all of us, and I love her for what she has done for us, for just empowering the emancipation even more. So I love her for that. Thank you, Miss Opal Lee. I look up to you. I admire her.
The 98-year-old did not walk this year because of health concerns. Former President Joe Biden signed legislation in 2021, making Juneteenth an official national holiday with Dr. Lee in attendance. Rosa Parks has been gone for nearly 20 years, but her legacy lives on as the city of Detroit is pushing to have her longtime home designated as a historic property, which will protect the home from major changes by future owners. Rosa Parks lived in the 2-story house for 27 years, moving in 1961. The Detroit News says the city's Planning and Economic Development Committee is expected to discuss the proposal at their meeting next week. And rounding out the first 6 minutes of news, the Stanley Cup is banged up once again because the Florida Panthers celebrating their back-to-back titles. The bowl of the famous trophy is now cracked and the bottom is dented again. But damage is nothing new for the 131-year-old trophy. It's been submerged in pools and oceans and dropped several times by players, coaches, and staff. A spokesperson for the Hockey Hall of Fame says the keepers of the cup are planning to have the cup repaired for celebrations at the parade on Sunday. It just adds character to the Stanley Cup, I think.
It really does. I mean, I know that's not our Stanley water bottles, but I mean, we all have dents on our Stanley cups or water bottles, and might as well just have one on a trophy as well.
Not quite the same thing, but yeah.
I know. Yeah. But I'm not a big sports person, but still, I don't know where that came from, but still. But
no, it's cute.
You probably want to be dipping in a pool just like the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
We're going to see our temperatures warming up quite a bit in the forecast.
All right, your full forecast after the break, and then later we're taking a look at the newest movies coming to a theater near you in this week's Popcorn Pick. Stick around for that and much more.